Distinguished participants, you do all welcome. Today, we host a really very distinguishing guest today here in SETA, Mr. Orhan Murtezani, His Minister Excellency of North Macedonia European Union Affairs. This speech would be delivered in Turkish. That would be a great joy for us. And, we host a minister from Balkan region, but the speech would be delivered in Turkish. So this is indeed another point of joy for us. Orhan Murtezani was educated in Saint uh, say University, and right after that, Marmara University. In Marmara University, he completed his graduate studies for management and organization, and also he acted as the director of Development and Thought Association based in Macedonia, and right after that, he started working as the general director and head of the executive board for Turkey, Macedonian Electricity Transmission Company. And he is also a spokesperson of Alternativa Party and also a public relations secretariat for the same party. And also, he has been acting as the Minister for European Union Affairs in Macedonia for the time being. At first, we would like to invite him to the floor, and right after that comes Q&A session as the continuation of our program. And I would like to invite our Minister, the Minister, His Excellency, to the floor without overdue. Distinguished participants, dear guests, today we come together with you here, and this is both an honor and a source of happiness for me. Thank you very much for your warm hospitality and kind invitation, and I would like to extend my heartfelt gratefulness to you all. I have lived in Turkey and had been indeed provided with education here in Turkey. That's why I have a special uh, inclination to Turkey. Turkey is a really very rich country in terms of culture and linguistic assets, and that deep-rooted historical ties is of pivotal importance not only for me but also for Macedonian community. Speaking here in Turkish today is not just a personal attribute of mine, but also it is expression of mutual respect in between Turkish and Macedonian communities, and I have indeed an idiom on my mind. A tree could only flourish by its roots. And those roots is a really great depiction of Turkey's relation with Macedonia and Balkan region. And you know that we have a common history and we resist challenges of newly transforming globe on a shoulder-to-shoulder basis. And Turkey is one of the countries which recognize independence of our country, and also Turkey had always acted as a reliable ally for our country and also as a solid partner, given that they have also supported us throughout our accession period to European Union. And Balkan is always described as a bridge in between East and West, and Turkey also plays that role significantly, being parts of different worlds, and also connecting those different worlds together makes Turkey a unique strategical country in the region. And you know that global alliances are changing day by day, and geopolitical complicities are also on the rise. And Turkey's partnership with Balkan is something inevitable, but not something just important, but it is unavoidable and inevitable. And North Macedonia set forth accession to European Union as a strategical priority. Priority number one. This is indeed very much related with welfare, democracy, and stabilization all around the region. And in integration to European Union would be relying on our commitments to achieve, and we keep taking firm steps forward decisively. And of course, European Union should act in a committed and dedicated way in line with reciprocity, because this is indeed a byway journey. Our efforts and enthusiasm are concrete steps taken should find an echo in European Union, which would of course be a transparent and open policy. And Balkan countries should see that European Union target is something accessible and realistic. In Balkan region, or let me put it correctly, Southeastern Europe. Southeastern Europe, the name speaks for itself, because we can say that it also covers the concept of East deep inside of it. And North Macedonia, for a quite bit of time, has been doing its best for accession to European Union. We should be going beyond historical challenges and create a common European destiny, and all societies should embrace that as well. Of course, you know that accession period is full of challenges, and we should be convinced that we should implement reforms in full, and we cannot deny those realities. But integration process by itself is a really strong transformative engine, and harmonization with European Union acquis will direct our country to prosperity, democracy, and also stabilization. And of course, the plan for growth and advancement and associated reforms should be carried out in such a way which promotes economic development on the basis of our ideals, which is intersecting with the objectives of European Union as well. And North Macedonia acted really in a very solid way. We always prove our unshaken connection with European Union, but still we keep waiting in the waiting room reception area of European Union for an indefinite period of time. This a long period, exhaustive period, tested our institutions and also patience of our community. In the past, our community used to be really very enthusiastic about accession to European Union, but now our community is full of disappointment, and they do not think European Union objective is that much realistic and accessible. They have been questioning it for a quite bit of time. European Union should be an accessible, realistic objective in the perspectives of our communities, right on the contrary, indeed. And I would like to end my words by saying that European Union journey is not just limited to fulfilling criteria, but also establishing ties, trust, and adopting values of European Union. And doors of European Union should be wide open for those who are ready to adopt those values. And risks are really very large, and those risks are valid for North Macedonia and European Union. We should act mutually, decisively, in a dedicated way in order to make our dreams real. Thank you very much. I would like to extend my thanks to our distinguished minister for his speech. And accession of North Macedonia to European Union is a long-standing period, and North Macedonia has done its part throughout this long-standing period, indeed. And there were some setbacks, political ones mostly, depending on the name of the country once upon a time, but problematic process is still going on. Maybe they will have some questions about it. And with regard to membership of North Macedonia to European Union or foreign policy of North Macedonia could be amongst questions to be raised. Of course, you can ask your questions in English or in Turkish, no matter. You can ask your question in your language of choice. At first, I would be receiving questions from the hall. Right after that, personally, I will come up with some personal questions. Maybe we can pass them on to the audience for the questions. Çok teşekkürler Sayın Bakanımız sunumunuz için. Makedonya ve Avrupa Birliği arasındaki ilişkilere değindiniz. Tam üyelik bağlamında çok zaman alıyor, çok fazla zaman alıyor bu dediniz. Neredeyse insanlar artık bu uzun süreçten sıkıldılar, bıktılar diyorsunuz. Türkiye'de de benzer bir süreç var.
In July 2022, when the Council take the decision, Bulgaria also gave a statement where they say that the Bulgarian language is dialect, Macedonian language is dialect of the Bulgarian language. First, and second, that we have to put Bulgarian minority in our preamble, because the preamble of North Macedonia is like this: the state of Macedonia belongs to Macedonians, part of Albanians, part of Bosnians, part of Turks, and so on, who live within Macedonia. So Bulgaria is insisting to put Bulgarians within the preamble. Within itself, this condition, it's not a problem. Also, we as a new government can quickly do it. We have almost 2/3 of the majority. But no one will accept to join European Union and accept that our language is not the language defined by our constitution. So this is the first thing, that it's not reasonable. And the second thing, we cannot start the process of negotiations and talk about the history in 11th century, 12th century, about some historical figures, because the process of negotiation, it's not dealing with the past. You have set of reforms under which you have to undergo. After you accomplish or you implement the reforms, then you become member of EU. In our case, this is not the case. Especially, we frequently hear from European Union representatives that the process of integration is merit-based system. In our case, this is not the case, because in every annual report of the Commission, they give a recommendation to open the negotiations, and then the Council, because of the internal political issues, cannot move on with that decision. Our position is very clear. It is against the interest of the European Union if the process of negotiations is bilateralized. We have to do the process according to the European standards, not according to the standards of some EU members. Because by blocking the process of enlargement, some countries are not blocking only those countries, but also blocking the strategic interest of the European Union.
Thank you very much. Yes, please.
Öncelikle Sayın Bakan, konuşmanız için teşekkür ediyorum. Benim sorum şu şekilde olacak. Avrupa Birliği yolunda Yunanistan'la geçmişte yaşadığınız problemler gibi gelecekte de yeni problemlerle karşılaşacağınızı öngörüyor musunuz acaba? Teşekkürler. Evet, ben biraz daha Yunanistan üzerine sormak istedim.
I explained briefly that we had a serious issue with Greece, but after we changed our name, I have to be honest that Greece has supported North Macedonia a lot and still is continuing to support. I also see it from the reports from the, let's say, institutions in Brussels, where Greece is strongly supporting us. From time to time, we have some, let's say, concerns. I won't say problems or issues, but concerns, where some representatives of North Macedonia don't use the constitutional name of the country, North Macedonia. So at that time, Greece can have some concerns. But in general, we do not expect problems with Greece. Actually, the case with Greece is how one country who is blocking us to make from country who blocks you to the country who supports you. Also, Greece is part of the group of friends who support North Macedonia to join European Union. Deeply inside me, I also believe that also with case of Bulgaria, we can make from country who blocks us to country who strongly supports us, because it is in the interest of Bulgaria, North Macedonia to become member of EU. That's why we stand for political dialogue, and we insist on dialogue, because if we don't find mutual solutions through dialogue, then we are sure that the blockades will continue. And if the blockades continue, then the Euroscepticism will rise, and we will have problem to keep the process alive.
Sayın Bakanım, hoş geldiniz. Ben soruyu bir 30 yıl öncesine götürüp şu ana getirmek isterim müsaade ederseniz. Sonra da 50 yıl sonrasına. 30 yıl önce Avrupa Birliği'ne üyelik Balkanlardaki anlaşmazlıkların, çatışmaların sonlandırılmasında hani havuç sopa ikilemi içerisinde havuç olarak gösteriliyordu. Yani sorunları çözerek Avrupa Birliği üyesi olmaya teşvik ediliyordu Balkan ülkeleri veya Güneydoğu Avrupa ülkeleri. Şimdi 30 yıl geçtikten sonra 1990'lardan itibaren birincisi Avrupa Birliği gerçekten
After 90s, after conflicts and complicities of 1990s, is European Union still a strategical objective for the Balkan region? And if you focus on this moment, there is indeed a suspect about the future of European Union 50 years later than now. Even it is a matter of question in Germany. If you adopt a visionary perspective, do you think European Union could be fulfilling vision which it is assumed to fulfill? So is it worth of exerting your best efforts for European Union accession? Let me ask that. Son söylediğiniz değer mi sözü herkesin aklında.
Citizens. Because most of them, if you honestly ask, do Europe wants us? Most of them will say no. That's why, because we are getting first time veto from Greece, second time from France, third time from Bulgaria. And even if we change the name of the constitution, we will get another veto because Europe is not really interested on the enlargement. I'm not sure that this perception of our people is true, but there are two very interesting moments. First is the Russian invasion in Ukraine opened the eyes of the European Union that the process of enlargement needed to be closed at the past, but let's see what we can do on a fast track. This case is with Montenegro, who is very quickly going forward. At this time, even Montenegro is behind North Macedonia. At this moment that I'm speaking, North Macedonia is still better prepared to reach European Union than Montenegro. Also, Albania is taking serious steps, and not to talk about Moldova and Ukraine. The second topic is the internal reforms. Do the internal reforms that needs to be undertaken by the European Union need to postpone the process of enlargement until they know for themselves what needs to be done? I'm not sure. But I think that now there is will and commitment for the process of enlargement. One additional fact, now the European Commission is giving to the whole Western Balkans 7 billion euros with the growth plan or the so-called reform agenda. North Macedonia is getting 750 million euros for 3 years. Most part of it are grants, part of it are loans. The amount we are getting now, it's somewhere around 70% of the amount we will get after we are members of EU. So all these facts show that yes, there is a will in the European Union for the enlargement and to accept new members, but the bilateral issues, or let's say the dioptry of some members seeing their bilateral interest and not the geopolitical interest of the European Union, it's making or it's creating the picture where someone can think that European Union is not seriously interested.
Thank you very much. Before turning to the hall again, I would like to ask a couple of questions. One question is about your management background and how you are integrating this with the EU reform process. What do you think are the priority areas for reform and the areas that you can progress the quickest way? And how are you dealing with these issues? This is my first question. My second question will be about your rather politician side. We all know that since 2022, the European Union repeatedly states the expectations of constitutional changes before any concrete process in the negotiations. How realistic do you see that the constitutional changes will happen in North Macedonia, either in the parliament or through a referendum?
Thank you for the questions. Well, coming from management background, at this period I can feel that it's my advantage. Because if you know the process on details, then you know also the problems in details. And if you focus too much on the problems, you cannot move forward. I feel when we discuss with my team, when they start to talk about the problems, I can better focus on our final goal. So my background is helping a lot, especially because of the fact that according to the law, we only coordinate the process of integration. The process of implementation is done by the line ministries, but I only coordinate. Coordination is the core function of the management philosophy. What kind of reforms? First, rule of law, because the main pillar of the European integration is the rule of law. 3 months ago, I had the opportunity to attend for the first time General Affairs Council in the mechanism of rule of law, because the European Union is including the member or the candidates in the process, which was until now only for the member states. The previous government adopted a it was criminal code, or new criminal code, which was against the recommendations of the European Union, but they passed it on the parliament with European flag. So it's the most negative thing stated in every report about North Macedonia. First, we have to work on our rule of law and fight against corruption. And second one, improve our economic conditions. Packages, as the one I mentioned before, of course, that are designed to have a socio-economic impact, and we will start to feel them somewhere around, let's say, September or October. The second question about constitutional changes, well, there is a belief, it's not perception, it is a belief mainly among the citizens in Macedonia, that if we change the constitution now, Bulgaria will block us again. I cannot say that this is not true. Mainly because if we see the process, for example, where the growth plan was adopted in the European Commission, Bulgaria abstained for voting. My personal belief is they abstained because we were, as a Western Balkan countries, in one place. If the voting was individually, I'm not sure that they would abstained. This also, another example is, in order to open the negotiations formally, we have to do two roadmaps for rule of law and the reforms in public administration. There is an action plan for minorities who is attached to the roadmap for rule of law. Bulgaria is trying to cause their serious problems. So if we don't find through Brussels solution for the attitude toward the process, we are not sure that there won't be additional vetoes. That's why we think that it's better not to hurry with the constitutional changes, because if we change the constitution, open the negotiations, and the process of negotiations will still be blocked, I'm not sure that will be any politician in North Macedonia who can promote the European integration anymore.
Very risky. Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the audience? Let me see. Are there any questions from the internet watchers? We have one more question from here. Okay. So let's take one more question.
Yeah, Mr. Minister, actually, you know, there is a major war between Russia and Ukraine. And you also mentioned that this has some effects on the attitudes of European Union. Do you think that it will change the EU attitudes against the Eastern European countries, including Macedonia, because of this situation, war situation?
Always, where is war, the priority or the main attention is there. So we cannot expect to have the same attention as Ukraine, because in North Macedonia there is no war, we are a member of NATO, there is no threat for our security. But I think that at the same level of exposure to the hybrid threats, we are almost same. Moldova, Ukraine, Poland, or all Western Balkan countries are almost samely exposed to the threats for hybrid war, especially when North Macedonia is fully aligned with common foreign security policy. We have put all sanctions that the Commission or the Brussels asked from us against Russia. We are fully aligned, and we are still struggling to open the door. To be honest, I do not expect the same attention, but we have to speak loudly. Tomorrow from Ankara, I'm going to Warsaw because the presidents of the council is now in Poland. They are having the presidents. If we follow the public statements, the main focus of the enlargement, or when they speak about the enlargement, they mostly mention Moldova and Ukraine. I think that if we leave the enlargement of the Western Balkans and start to talk about the enlargement mainly for Ukraine and Moldova, then we don't have story of success. And if we don't have story of success with the actual member candidates, how can we build story of success with the new member candidates? So I think that those processes needs to be on parallel, but for sure the main attention will be mainly on Ukraine.
Thank you very much. I don't see any other hands. So as a last question, if I may, would you comment on your relations with Turkey and Turkey's role in the Balkans in general?
Actually, I mentioned also in my speech, Turkey is one of the first states that accepted North Macedonia's independence. We have, let's say, issues or cooperations defined by history, by geography, by cultural influence. Last years, the business relations are also intensified. Now there are more than 2,000 Turkish companies who operate in North Macedonia. The potential for further companies or foreign direct investments from Turkey is huge, especially in strategic areas like energy, mainly green energy, or infrastructure. So there is a huge potential to build furthermore these relations. But of course, that the whole relations between Turkey and North Macedonia are not mainly as partners. I would prefer to say like two, even not friends, but brother countries who support not only for mutual economic interest, but beyond the economic interests.
Evet, Sayın Bakan, çok teşekkür ediyorum katılımınızdan dolayı. Değerli katılımcılar, sizlere de geldiğiniz için çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Etkinliğimiz burada sona eriyor. Yeni etkinliklerimizde görüşmek üzere. Hoşça kalın.